Good evening everybody. I know I'm a little bit late to the game, but I've been at work today, so it's been a little bit awkward to be able to make a video on this, but I thought I'd still do a video. Obviously some very exciting news has come out today that we will be getting a Southeast Asia Animals pack for Planet Zoo. So this will be coming out on the 30th of March, so a little over a week away. And it will be a bit of a different type of DLC for Planet Zoo than we have had before. So obviously the previous packs we've had have had a mixture of different things. We've had obviously 4 animals, plus in almost all of them bar Arctic we had an exhibit animal as well. We've had some foliage, normally some rocks, things like that. Obviously a lot of building pieces. We've had scenarios, career type maps, things like that in there, various different bits and bobs, but this DLC is a little bit different. So this will be animals only plus a few enrichment bits. We'll go into the details that we have on that after we discuss the animals themselves, but we'll actually be getting, as I'm sure you've seen already, 7 habitat animals, as well as the single exhibit animal that we would normally get as well. So something I know a lot of people have been really keen for. Obviously a lot of people are more keen on the animals than they are the building pieces. They'd rather have more animals, no building pieces, or less building pieces. So obviously a lot of people have been asking for this, so I'm sure it'll be really well received by a lot of people. And I know myself that I'm quite excited for this. It's introducing a lot of really cool animals that we and a lot of other members of the community have really wanted and requested. So we will have a little look at the screenshots that we have got and a couple of stills from the video of the animals that we have seen so far. So the first one we have is the clouded leopard. So this one is one of the most requested I think I've seen from people on various servers, including my Discord server, link in the description if you want to join. Yeah, clouded leopard, really quite a popular animal, a popular choice for people and wish for people, being a slightly smaller cat, and we will be getting it. So we've got a couple of screenshots in here, as well as the actual announcement trailer as well, where we can get a look at this lovely cat. So quite a nice, they have really nice patterning here, different to some of the other cats, large big patchy type patterning. Obviously, as I said, slightly smaller cat than the ones we have already. And then the second picture, a little bit more of a close-up of the face, things like that. The first picture we can actually see one of the enrichment items in the enrichment items, which would be the hammock in the sort of attached to the trees there in the background. So that will be a nice one. Looks like a kind of fire hose hammock, quite a common thing that you might see in a lot of zoos for certain species. So yeah, lovely clouded leopard. The next one we have is the sun bear. So the sun bear was one that we did get in the leak that came out with the aquatic pack leak as well, and obviously we did see sun bear on the list of species that had a rig in the game that they'd started working on. So we assumed that they were working on this. Didn't necessarily mean it would be the next pack, but obviously we do now know that it is. So sun bear, an interesting bear, quite small, slightly weirder shape. It's quite kind of lanky, quite slim and long limbed, that sort of thing, but quite cute, quite slightly different looking to a lot of the other bears, as I say. So still a nice addition to the game. We've got 2 screenshots here, one with one sat on its own there, and then the next one we have this picture with a couple of little cubs as well, which is pretty cute. a little enrichment feeder and thing in the front there. So yeah, another nice addition. As I say, the only one that we knew for certain that not for certain, but that we were fairly sure that we would be getting. So yeah, the sun bear. We have not got many bears left that we need now. We only really, let me think, we only need the sloth bear and the American black bear, and I think we've got all the bears. I think that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to think of my bear species now. So the next one we have, now this is a bit of a surprise for me. I wasn't really expecting this one, but a nice addition nevertheless. The Proboscis Monkey. Quite an unusual looking one that's quite an interesting looking one. It stands out quite nicely, but a nice animal and what looks to be a really nice model for them actually. So this is not a very common one in zoos, but as we know, that's not necessarily the criteria that is used to select animals to be in the game. So Frontier has obviously decided that this is a good one to have, but it's nice to have. Even though we have got other primates and other monkeys, it's nice to have a slightly different kind of monkey than the kind of small thing like the capuchin, or the things like the mandrill, or the macaques, things like that. So yeah, a slightly different kind, nice long tail, and quite arboreal species. So yeah, another nice addition. So we've got a screenshot there of the single animal. And then if we go to the next one, we have one where we have two sat together. So yeah, really nice, really interesting, unusual looking one. And yeah, something still slightly different. So yeah, that will be another interesting addition. Next, so these are all the official screenshots from what I can tell that we have. Sometimes it's hard going about checking all the different sites because there's different things seem to be uploaded everywhere. But that looks like it for official screenshots. Next, we do have a couple of things in the video that we see. So the first one we get a glimpse of, this is a screenshot from the actual video itself, is the Malayan Tapir. So another iconic Southeast Asian species, quite common in a lot of zoos, at least over in Europe. Yeah, a nice little species, obviously very similar in terms of shape and behaviours, things like that, to the Baird's tapir that we have already, but still quite a nice, interesting pattern, quite kind of different looking, obviously quite striking black and white. So yeah, another species that will tie nicely to bulk out these Southeast Asian areas or general Asian areas that we might be building. Next, and the last one that we actually have anything official on, is the Babirusa, Sulawesi Babirusa. Really interesting, unusual, some may say ugly looking species of pig found in Southeast Asia, with these big old tusks protruding and curling around from the face. So yeah, another interesting species, nice little hoofstock species, and yeah, I feel like becoming a little bit more popular in recent years. A few more places I've seen taking them on. So yeah, that will be another nice addition. Nice to have another pig in the game other than the warthog. So yeah, quite excited to have these guys in there as well. So the next two habitat and then exhibit species don't have any images for yet. So we have the Binturong. So that is a small kind of carnivore type species, sometimes called the bear cat. It smells like popcorn, which is always a nice interesting fact about them. They'll be really good, fairly arboreal again, an interesting different looking species for the game. And then the Dhole, which is Asiatic dog, fairly small, reddish in colour. So another canid, Have we had any without one? I suppose South America didn't have one. Is that the only one that we've not had any sort of canid? I can't think now, gone blank. But yeah, another canid, but again, it's still nice to be able to pad out these areas with other species. And yeah, dholes are quite nice animals. So yeah, they'll still be a nice addition. But probably the one I'm least excited for, I would say. But then again, I did say that about the dingo, and I quite like the dingo, so I might change my mind on that. But yeah, that is all the 7 habitat species we'll be getting: clouded leopard, sun bear, Proboscis monkey, Malayan tapir, Sulawesi Babirusa, Binturong and Dhole. We will also be getting the giant Malaysian leaf insect, so nice to have a different insect instead of the stuff we've been getting recently. I don't know if we've had an insect, have we, in a DLC? It's been frogs and those other bits and bobs like that. The terrapin we had. So yeah, we've got another insect, quite a nice one. So yeah, that will be our exhibit animal. So very exciting, lots of nice new animals. No foliage rocks, construction pieces as far as we can tell. We haven't been told we'll be getting any of them. It's strictly an animals DLC. The only things we have been told that we will be getting with it is a time scenario set in Malaysia. We'll be getting signs for all the animals except the Babirusa, which will be coming a bit later, which is a bit strange. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just not finished, or yeah, a bit of a weird one, but at least we'll be getting it at some point. But yeah, we will be getting animal signs for all of them, and so we'll be getting some enrichment items. So the hammock that we saw, and then forage wall, which could be kind of anything. It may be almost like a hammock on its side, where food is put into the little pockets, things like that. I know we've used that at our zoo for things like the sloth bear, so that might be how it's going to work, but obviously we haven't seen it yet, so can't be certain. So yeah, those will be the contents of this DLC. Animal heavy, construction piece light, or non-existent. But yeah, something a bit different, and something that people definitely wanted, and a lot of species there that I think people will be quite happy with, and even some that maybe people aren't too excited by, but will probably love when they actually get them in their zoos. In terms of the future for my channel with these species, unfortunately for whipsnade recreation, we don't have any of these species. But we do have Warty Pigs, so another sort of island pig species, which we could now put the Babirusa in their place. So that would be quite nice to at least have something there that we can use instead. Possibly we'll be able to use one of the others for something. Could potentially use a sun bear in place of sloth bear instead of the Asiatic black bear, which I was planning to use. But yeah, we might be able to pop something else in, but that seems to be the main one, the Babirusa in place of Warty Pig. And then obviously for Crimson Valley Zoo, I was planning already to have Binturong and Clouded Leopard in there, and I did have a reshuffle recently to take the Clouded Leopard out of the cat area and move it up towards the elephants for a potential Asian area. So obviously now that we've got this, I think we will definitely have to make that top portion of Crimson Valley where the elephants are were planned to be into a form of Asian area, and try and cram as many of these species as we can in there as well. So maybe cut out some of the ones that we were thinking of previously and try and get all these in. Also, it's interesting, obviously having this different type of DLC, that this definitely opens up the doors for future DLCs in this format. So I'm sure they'll still make some with foliage and construction items, things like that in there as well. but it obviously paves the way for future animal-based DLCs. So I know in Discord earlier we were talking about the possibility of an African pack, since we already have quite a lot of African themed pieces. Maybe an African DLC could be an animal based one, so that we can get more species in that we feel like we're missing, things like white rhino, some sort of birds, cranes, secretary birds, something like that. We could get our, I think I already said rhino, didn't I? We could get maybe some sort of baboons in there, another smaller cat, serval, caracal, something like that. Maybe some little things if they did decide to do it, fennec fox or meerkat or something, porcupines. So yeah, there's scope there for chucking in quite a few more animals into a future DLC. So it's nice that they've listened to the community a lot in terms of bringing us more animals this time. We will mention as well about the update as well quickly. So in the update 1.5 we will be getting confirmed on the forums 3 new enrichment items. So we'll get a frozen fish block as well as 2 scratching trees. So I assume some of the new species will be able to use that, maybe the sun bear, Binturong possibly, something like that, as well as maybe some of the existing species. To make use of it if you didn't buy the DLC. The big one we'll be getting is the custom billboards, which will be able to display photo and video files that are user created on a variety of sized screens, as well as custom audio in the speakers and things like that. So that's another cool one as well. We'll be able to have multiple zoo entrances. So if you wanted an entrance on either end of your zoo, you can do that, whereas before we were obviously forced to have just the one. Water visuals will be getting a big overhaul, so we'll be able to alter the colour of the water as well as the cloudiness effectively of the water, which will be really good for underwater viewing. I know a lot of people were complaining that it's very hard to see things underwater, which it was true through the glass and things like that. It could be very difficult. Another time scenario, which I don't tend to do much of the scenario stuff, the challenge career stuff, but we now do have an incentive in that we'll be getting the sculptures from the map, the kind of globe, the sculptures, the kind of trophies we'll be getting as actual in-game sculpture type pieces. So it provides an incentive there to get through all those scenarios and things like that, and they'll be in a variety of different styles. The different metals in a stone one. Another really useful one will be a staff traversable map, traversable area map, like the animals do. We'll be able to see where staff can and cannot get to within the enclosure, so that's very handy. And then the other thing that they have said is that we'll be getting deep swimming, deep diving with the gharial. I assume to go along with the Southeast Asia theme of the whole thing. With the DLC, they're giving us the gharial, so another one to tick off the list there. I know there's a few that people want to have it still as well, something like the polar bear. Maybe we'll get that if they were to do a North American DLC. They might maybe add a polar bear deep swimming into that one to tie in with that. We shall wait and see. So a lot of cool stuff coming. Obviously a little way to go till the 30th, but I assume they've probably announced it with a bit longer to go, because hopefully they will be still doing a showcase, a daily showcase of every species before the actual release date. So hopefully we'll still get to see the Binturong and the Dhole at some point, and the official photos for all of the other species as well. So lots to look forward to, definitely. A very different style. Some people might be happy, some people maybe not as much, but they've definitely been listening to us with the update as well as this animal heavy DLC that people are really craving, with some species in there that people will hopefully be looking forward to. So I will obviously be bringing you some details and a closer look at the DLC when it comes out on the 30th, and I'll be obviously building some stuff for some of these species as well, as and when I can. So keep up to date with all the latest news and bits like that. If you would like to then join the Discord, we'll be discussing things as and when they come out on there, link in the description below. You can subscribe on here if you haven't already, to keep up to date with all my latest videos, news and builds and whatever I end up doing. You can follow me on Twitter as well, link in the description again below. If you like this video, please leave a like, and like I said, subscribe if you haven't already. We shall hopefully be getting a Planet Zookeeper video out. I shall hopefully be getting one out. I'm in the process of sorting it all out currently, so that will be finally getting around to looking at some actual animal enclosure tips and tricks. So we'll be starting off with the carnivores, because that was voted for on the Discord, and also I've been working very hard on getting the sea lion house for Whipsnade done. It's pretty close, but it's probably the most intense thing I've built so far, so it's taken a very long time, but I definitely will try and get those out as soon as I can, as well as more information on this new DLC. So thank you very much for watching, hopefully you enjoyed, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.